So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. My name is Tsofit Shachar. I'm the CISO of Ayal, Israel Airlines, with more than 25 years experience in cybersecurity industry, former CISO at Elbit Systems, with expertise in building high-performing security teams, and it's great to be here. Aviation has always been about precision and trust, but today those values extend far beyond the cockpit. Cybersecurity, supply chain resilience, and crisis management are now part of the daily flight plan. So the first question is about supply chain. It's for you, General Charly. What are the main challenges in managing third-party risk and supply chain in airline operation?
Thank you. Well, first I'd like to thank Code Blue for putting on this event and addressing this problem here. The aviation ecosystem is extremely difficult and extremely complicated. It not only has information technology issues with it, it also has operational technology issues with it. We have operational technology products flying in an operational technology environment. And on top of that, the third parties that are supporting third-party vendors provide services and they provide products. So if that's not complicated enough, each one of these vendors, these third parties, have vendors themselves. So you have vendors to the nth degree going through all this. So how do we put all those things together? It gets extremely complicated because not only in my old job in the Air Force, at least I was the boss of all of those things. Now imagine all these vendors, none of them work for the airline or the particular person they're servicing. So there's no, I guess, they also have liability on themselves. So when time comes, if they get attacked, they don't, or you get attacked, they're not necessarily going to participate full-heartedly in your investigation because they're worried about their own liability into the whole thing. So on top of that, you have all the different types of systems that get put together for your vendors. One of the things we looked at is third-party risk management. And I would tell you that Israel, we've looked at their systems here. They have some of the best products we've seen. So we're going to make you feel good about that. Other things we look at, loss of visibility on looking at your vendors, the numerous jurisdictions you're going to go to. Airlines go from country to country to country, and all the different data privacy issues and everything like that they have to deal with. So I hope we at least leave you with the fact that they're very complicated.
Thank you, Charly, for highlighting the complexity of third-party risks. Esti, let's build on that. How can AI-driven detection systems strengthen resilience without compressing the safety that aviation demands?
Wow, what a question. Yeah, so first let me thank Franco and the Code Blue team for putting together this amazing panel. It's been simply a pleasure preparing for this panel, and I'm enjoying it already. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you would board a plane where you know that AI is at the helm? No pilots. Anyone? Probably no. How many of you? Oh, one. Thank you. I'm a pilot. I wouldn't. How many of you would board a plane when there is a pilot aided by AI? Well, this is probably where we are heading in the aviation industry. And I think one of the most exciting things about the aviation industry, and we're seeing this today, and Major General Amika Norkin spoke about it, aviation industry is now at an amazing point where technology is kind of overtaking a lot of very cumbersome processes that have been very dominant in this industry for many years. And AI is one of the most important trends that we are seeing. AI is becoming foundational in aviation. It's used for maintenance, for predictive maintenance, which is king in the aviation sector. It optimizes routes. It allows pilots to make better decisions, including in emergency situations. Now, AI is a critical part of the ecosystem, and this means that AI can aid in cybersecurity, can aid in incident response, but AI also needs to be protected. It gives us a deeper, earlier understanding of potential abnormal behavior that may indicate cyber threats, but it is also an inherent threat on its own. And eventually, we will see semi-automated containment processes and orchestration processes. AI will aid in the aviation cybersecurity eventually, but AI also needs to be protected. And this means that the resilience and the safety, which is extremely important in the aviation industry, are dependent on controlled integration. AI will have to operate within safety envelopes, will have to operate within frameworks of trust. We will have to completely understand where the AI decisions are coming from. I'll speak about the elephant in the room. We'll need explainability. Otherwise, the aviation industry will not adopt AI. We need explainability. We can't allow AI to go rogue with certain decisions that cannot be explained. But I believe that if AI will be designed this way, its detection capabilities will strengthen resilience and will eventually reinforce the aviation's safety culture rather than just challenge it.
Thank you, Esti. You've shown us how AI and technology can be safeguarded. But Ayal, it's for you. What happens when technology alone isn't enough? Especially when we are talking about the legacy OT systems.
Thank you, Tsofit, and thank you to the audience that showed interest in this topic. Ayal from the Boeing company, been with Boeing for 15 years now. Always surprised to see that there are some other people outside of my company that show an interest in cybersecurity for aviation. So it's good to see that we have some hopefully white hackers and not black hat hackers here in the audience with us. Let me address your question, Tsofit, and you know, this is recorded. This is a public forum, so we're not going to go into too many details, but there's a magnificent circle here of legacy OT systems, safety certification, and 0-day. That just doesn't work. You've got floppy disks on one side. You've got, you know, each code has been scrutinized 100 times, gone through 3-4 different global regulation authorities, and finally deployed and is expected to perform flawlessly for years and years with 0 safety hiccups. And then, you know, whatever your 0-day ice cream flavor of the month shows up, and now what? That's our day in life. That's where we live. That's what we have to continuously prepare for and against. The Boeing company, for the most part, handles most of the cybersecurity internally in-house. We do have some cooperation. I'll talk about that throughout the session here. But this is a closed garden. If you are not invited in, it is very hard to join and be part of this. And that's something that makes it very difficult for the entrepreneurs, for the startups, for the more established technology providers to find their way in, the business model around this environment, and you know, lastly, there's not a lot of interest to cooperate and to publish this information, which you can typically find when you're in the automotive industry, when you are either going through the manual of the car you just bought or taking it apart in your garage. The barriers of entry in aviation are a little bit higher, and we like it that it's that way, so it keeps us facing the more complicated, the more complex nation states and really very challenging adversaries. but we're going to do our best to continue to keep that garden closed while inviting select individuals to come in and join us where we see that they bring some particular value. And we'll talk about that throughout the session here today.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you, Ayal. You've raised the urgency of the vulnerabilities and challenges in legacy systems. Shai, aviation has a long tradition of safety culture. How can aviation translate its proven safety culture into a robust cyber culture?
So again, thank you for all the panelists. I came earlier and listened to some of the earlier talks. Thanks to Code Blue for organizing this event. I think it's very interesting for me, at least. So I had another introduction planned in mind after we spoke, but listening to the previous discussions, I'm hearing even Charly said, it's very complex. There's a lot of third parties, fourth parties, nth parties. Aviation is a very complex system, and the cyberspace is so complex that it's very hard. I'm coming from a aviation safety background. Welcome to my world. So I'll just give you a couple of examples from something that could ruin my day or week or whatever, and you'll understand the complexity that I'm used to. Catering company, something that we don't think about. If they have a failure and they put rotten, spoiled food on board, then my crew is incapacitated. That's a safety risk, major safety risk. One of the US carriers, I think it was Delta, replaced the uniform vendor. It gave all their flight attendants rash. So, and that's, third-party suppliers, that's a safety risk. So, and aviation has been dealing with that for 100 years, over 100 years. And we've come up with system, first of all, understanding that there's no silver bullet. There's no one thing, one tool to rule them all. And there is, it's a constant work of improvement. It's an ongoing process. And we've matured from, trying to improve technology. I think we're at the stage in cyber world right now to try to come up with the best tools and best software and best apps to the human factor, CRM training and human factors training for flight crews, to safety management systems when we have procedures and protocols to manage safety in an airline, and then copy that to airports, to manufacturers, and in the past few years, I think we've gone to culture, safety culture, and to safety leadership. And I think that's, if we want to learn something from aviation safety, that's the path that we have to adopt into the cyber world of creating management systems for cyber safety, cybersecurity, creating a culture that brings all the employees, all the stakeholders on board, and moving away from liability and litigation into learning and improvement, and creating safety leadership in ourselves, in every organization that we work to create the atmosphere and create a culture that will enable every one of the employees to assist, to take responsibility and ownership of their part in safeguarding our aviation system, which is very, very vulnerable.
Thank you, Shai. You described it beautifully. Ido, let's take that further. Shai discussed cyber culture. Can organizational culture replace the deep BCP process?
I think, first of all, thank you all for joining us from afar. I think that safety culture and BCP culture are similar in aviation. When we're talking about a crisis in aviation, there are 5 basic principles that make aviation cyber crisis different and unique than what we see in different industries. First of all is safety. Safety is paramount in everything we do. Second thing is the operations are 24/7. Planes are in the air. They never stop. You can't just stop everything and put it down. Everything is working. We are highly dependent on computer systems. We can't work without it. That's what makes it so efficient. And the ecosystem is so interdependent between the airliners, the airports, the vendors, the suppliers, and even the passengers at the end. Everything is connected to each other. And of course, everything is working on a global scale and across all time zones. It's not 3 a.m. now. You have to talk to people, which is, it's working hours here, and you need to wake somebody up in Tokyo in your station to make it happen. So when we have a crisis in aviation, we can't expect to have all the questions in the answers in the beginning. So we have 5 basic questions that we have to answer. First of all is flight safety compromised? Can we still fly? And if in doubt, we have to ground the planes. We don't have a choice. The second question is, which operational systems are hit? And can we still get flights out? Can we still maintain operations? And the third one is connected is, did we use manual fallbacks and are they activated? And if we do, how long can we operate in this degraded mode before operations do get impacted? And that's because, as I said before, we are so connected or dependent on computers that if we don't have them, we might only have degraded mode for 24, 48 hours before operations are starting to slow down and the system came crashing down. The fourth question is the attacker in our system or the supplier system, as General Shugg said? And that's because the question is, can we contain it? Or can we make sure that it is contained and what we see is what we have right now, or could it escalate further? And the last question I think is very important is, who else is affected? Who do we need to sync right now? Who do we need to inform to this scenario that we're having? So when we're saying crisis in aviation in the beginning, we're basically asking 3 things. Is it safe to fly now, which is safety? Can we keep operations ongoing, which is the BCP question you said? And the third one is, who do we coordinate our response with right now? Because we cannot respond by ourselves. It's always has to do with somebody else that's in the loop, mostly a lot of other people that we need to coordinate with.
Thank you, Ido. Important things. Thank you all for those insightful perspectives. What we've seen in this first round is how interconnected our challenges truly are, from supply chain risk to AI resilience, from legacy system to safety culture. Now in round 2, let's dive deeper into how aviation can practically respond. So the question is for you, General Charly, how can AI-driven incident response work effectively across the fragmented aviation ecosystem?
Well, we'll start out with the main goal here is operational capacity. And it's the same in military, which is looking for your national defense, or for commercial airlines to stay afloat. And that involves the resilience, and that's where I usually came up with the resilience to keep going when you get attacked. Now, most people think of incident response as resilience after the fact, but resilience is also before the attack. And so with AI now coming into the picture, we can use AI now to help our monitoring, to look out in front of us here and to catch things before they become an incident and to be able to do defense against them. So AI is going to help us out in there, and then through the continuous monitoring and also knowing what to monitor and what to look for. So AI will help out even before an attack could possibly happen. After the attack, it's going to help us go through where that attack is and also look at the exact information we should do, be looking at an increased amount of time or decreased amount of time so that we can increase and do mitigation actions quicker. So it's only going to help out with all those things here. Other things it will do, it can help contain and isolate systems automatically. So it will be much faster, and we can cut off lines to dependent systems that we just talked about. So there could be dependencies that a human being would have to think through and then research possibly to figure out, whereas AI can do that much more rapidly and reduce the spread and the potential for it to go wild on us. The other thing it will do is give us some trust and transparency has to be maintained throughout this whole process. And that will mean that the human being has to be involved when it comes down to very critical things, grounding aircraft, other things like rerouting flights, diverting flights. Those will all have to have the human being involved in them. But with AI riding shotgun with them, they can make those decisions much quicker and with much more information and be much more informed. So to summarize everything, AI, we can't let it run wild like they talked about before, but it can be a tremendous aid in focusing our attention on the right data at the right time and automatically shutting down systems that they can do much quicker than the human being could do.
Thank you, Charlie. Esti, another question about artificial intelligence, because this is the reality. As AI embeds in avionics and ground system, what realistic detection and response can we accept? And what the limits?
Oh, limits is great. So first, Tsofit and Ido, let me thank you for putting me in the lineup after General Charly, because I'm going to build on your response in mine. I think we come from the same direction here. But first, let me ask the audience, have you seen last night's incident? A light twin, a small multi-engine aircraft, landed on a car on the I-95. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is not because this specific incident is related to cyber. Thankfully, only one injured person. The people in the plane survived well. It's a robust plane, built well. The person in the car was injured, not greatly, so everyone is alive. But this reminds us of an additional complexity of the aviation industry. So while when we think of aviation, we think about Boeing, obviously, the one and only, and other companies which we will not name at this point of time due to Ayal's presence here. But there are a lot of manufacturers and manufacturers of smaller planes. And some of the light twins, planes like the ones we saw in the incident yesterday, are flown by computers. If the computer is cyber hacked, the plane goes down, period. They're flown by what are called ECUs, electronic control units, essentially computers. No ECU, plane goes down. Not like the older types of planes, which were flown by magnetos, which are mechanical elements. So the bottom line is that the aviation industry is so much more than the commercial aviation we're speaking about. Commercial aviation, of course, is extremely important because many more passengers. We need to address that first. But regulators, and I'm looking at Eli, who will speak in the next panel, need to address the overall aspect of aviation, including the low-level economy, drones, air taxis that will start roaming the skies, up to, of course, the commercial aviation. So moving back to the question, can AI help? Yes, AI can help, definitely can help. But in order for AI to help, we need 4 elements. Number one, we need to understand that while AI can help, AI becomes also part of the problem. So we need to protect AI as well. Models can be poisoned, data can be manipulated, so we need to put in the safeguards that will ensure that our AI models are robust enough and that their standard, Captain Shai, are in the level of the safety that we need. And because there's no compromise on safety in aviation. Number two, we need trust, explainability. We need to understand what the models are telling us. Number three, we need to find a way to certify them, not in 10 years, in 1 year. Because otherwise, the technology will overtake the regulation and we will have chaos. So this is a call out for CAAI, which is the Israeli FAA, to do whatever is needed to regulate AI as soon as possible. And finally, the technologies need to be robust. And this is also a call out to technology companies. We have one technology company here, Aviation. Eliran will speak in the next panel. An amazing company, by the way. If you're thinking about Part IS, you should speak to them. But this is a call out for technology companies. We need more technologies in aviation. This is the next technological battleground. This is the next area that is going to explode. Bring us more technologies.
Thank you, Esti. You've shown us the promise and limits of embedded AI. So, Ayal, that brings us to innovation. What role do R&D partnerships play in creating aviation-specific solution? If you can share with us examples.
Just with your permission, one step back in order to start and approach players in the industry and to know who is a legitimate or not person you want to invite into this innovation party, you really have to have very deep, intimate ties with the ecosystem, with the industry. And I want to say thank you and shout out to the INCD for being really our partner, holding our hand from the beginning. I see Yigal Una here in the crowd, previous head of INCD, who really helped us make this a priority and bring aerospace to the forefront. We heard from Yossi Karadi earlier. This remains a topic of great interest and public interest and critical infrastructure, which is we cannot deal without. There's some more veterans in here, like Gali, that are also have a lot of history. And then now you take these people who are connected in the industry, they conduct background checks on the people that we want to work with or think of working with, and through this trusted pipeline, try and really open those closed gates. Now, what happens when you open those closed gates? Okay, you'll find that many of the companies that are already in the cybersecurity space, that have some product in the market, that have an off-the-shelf offering, simply not relevant for our industry. They have tailored their products for a customer, for a subset in the market, which makes sense because there are thousands, millions, and users and paying customers. Here, there's either Boeing or the other company that I'm not going to mention, and if we're not going to pay, if we're not going to be a customer, then why even go into this business? How are you going to return any, show any profit or return on investment to your investors? So that's, it's an inherent obstacle to really encourage entrepreneurs, startups to come into this industry. Once they're there, and that's a very tall obstacle and barrier to overcome, if they have proven themselves and their capabilities, that's where R&D comes in. We're not shopping for off-the-shelf solutions. We are designing unique and custom ad hoc, tailor-made solutions for our needs. And then go and ask an entrepreneur to translate that into a business model or into some economics that makes sense. That's a challenge. They really have to make it. They're going to go big or they're going to go home. Esti mentions Aviation. I wish you guys great success. We have a partnership signed with them, and I really hope that they're going to be a beacon for this industry and show other startups that there's a path that way. Now, that sends us to places such as academia even. We're going to go and look for or search in the academia realm for those vulnerabilities, for those what-ifs, for that post-quantum day nightmare, to really try and future-proof our platforms and our systems. But it's not I'm just going to go start shopping for the next IT service provider. I need to go and share a lot of knowledge with the trusted partner, have them do some comprehension and work offline to see what they come back with, iterate on that back and forth until we land on the designed outcome, and implement. That's a very long life cycle. That takes a long time, a lot of effort, and it's a marathon. But once you are in the network, you're in, and I wish to see many more successes from the Israeli ecosystem. If you are in the audience here and working on something that is semi-related to aviation or to the industry that I represent, please hit me up on LinkedIn and let's chat offline, and I'll hand over back to you.
Thank you, Ayal. Hope to see more technology and more partnership. It's very important. Shai, let's connect that to the bigger picture. What impact pathway from aircraft data to airports make airlines unlike a regular enterprise?
Okay, so I'm going to mention the other company. I don't know what all of you did last Friday night. You all look like really party people. But last Friday night, hundreds of avionics technicians do an avionics rollback, software rollback on 6,000 Airbus airplanes because a glitch was found in the latest software update of one of the flight control computers. So imagine that 6,000 software updates are being done at the same time on a critical component of the aircraft. So fortunately, that was a rollback to a previous version, which was proven and tested. Imagine if that was a patch or a safety fix that was emergency issued by the manufacturer to all the users, installed it immediately, or your aircraft will pitch down unexpectedly because of some solar flares. That was the... So the pathway of software to the actual platforms is becoming shorter. And by the way, that is the event that prompted this software update was in September, I think, or October. And 2 months for a fix in aviation is record-breaking time. Usually aviation takes its time. We have an accident, and a year later the report comes out, and until the recommendations are implemented, it's another 5 to 7 years. So 3 months really is record time, and I think we have to be even quicker. If we're talking 0 day, we have to the next day be ready with a fix. So we have to get even better at that, and we have to make sure that bringing new software, new technology into aviation is done safely. You mentioned innovation. Aviation is extremely hard for innovation because I think no one of you would fly on a beta version airplane. And if you want to innovate, you have to make mistakes. You have to try and fail and try and fail. And aviation has no tolerance for failure, like Major General Norkin mentioned before. We have to make sure that we maintain the trust of the flying public and the public that we fly over their houses. Talking about drones and delivery drones and low-level automated air taxis and whatnot. So on the other hand, we have to make sure that we do innovate and we do make our pathways shorter from identifying a risk to implementing a fix, whether it's in AI or innovation on platforms or whatever. And we have to get better at that.
Thank you. So I apologize, we skip about the round 3, the open question about the positive way after all the nightmares and terrified story. But yeah, that's a wrap. Thank you. Thank you, my friends, colleagues, all the great energy and the insights today. It was really important for me. Thank you.